I'm mad because it seems some people can't get it through their thick frickin' heads that this Obamacare, this Affordable Health Care Act, this supposed blessing to all of America is a frickin' joke. Now, everyone, I've been receiving emails since the very first time I talked about Obamacare, since the very, 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 very first time I talked about Obamacare. A lot of you out there sent me a lot of hate mail. That's fine. But after you realize and after you listen, open your thick skulls, open that mind of yours, or are you just going to keep the shutters closed on those ears? But listen up. I have something I want to tell you about this Obamacare. Excuse me. We haven't heard much about it lately. Once in a while you do. But as a typical president wants to do, he wants to make sure that you think it's the greatest thing since Cheese Whiz. Well, it's not. It's not. And I'm going to tell you why it is not. A couple months back, if anybody knows me and knows me personally, they know I am a veteran. I served my country during the Vietnam era. And I am a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. And I get all of my health care, my medications, they keep Prozac all the time trying to calm me down, but that don't help. But anyhow, I get my particular health care through the Veterans Administration. Well, when affordable health care first came out, was first announced that we were going to have universal health care, and President Obama said if you like your present doctors, you like your present insurance company, you could keep it, blah, 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 blah. Well, we found out later he lied about that. But anyhow, I thought this was the greatest thing. So I was on the radio saying, well, this don't sound like a bad thing. I wasn't really 100% behind it, but I was like, this don't sound like such a bad deal after all. But here's the big but. It sucks. This is the worst thing to happen to America since 9/11 in my book. Now, what am I talking about? You're sitting there going, shaking your head, scratching it, and you're going, oh, screw you, Bob. F you. You don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do, because here's what happened. I went to the Affordable Healthcare site, healthcare.gov, that nifty little website, to try to get health care for my wife. Now, here's where it really got scary for me, and then I had to really do some digging. Number one, the one thing about Obamacare is that if you are married, now my wife and I, in order to try to save on our tax dollar, we decided through association with our accountant and all that, we went ahead and we have filed for many years now our income taxes, married, filing separately. Okay, remember that little box on your income tax form you can file that way? Well, that's the way we've been filing it. So that was the first thing that went against us with Obamacare. The second thing is that, even though we tried to get health care strictly for my wife, I had to be put on this policy as well. There was no doubt about it. And I argued with this bitch on the other end, saying, wait a minute, I have health care. I've got health care through the VA. She said, well, you're going to have to give that up. I went, what? What the hell are you talking about? I got to give it up. Are you freaking crazy? Why would I want to give up my VA benefits? I'm only looking for health care for my wife. No, you can't do that. All right, let's progress. If I decide to go along with your program, what's next? What about all these savings I'm going to get? Well, then she took some information. She took my income, all this kind of, happy horse shit that they go through, the government, typical government. Found out, guess what? I make too much money. I don't qualify for the benefits, the savings, or whatever the hell you want to call them. I make too much money. I make over $15,000 a year. Oops. And then the affordable became non-affordable. I don't know how to put it any other way. The affordable became non-affordable because they were going to charge me over I think it was over $249 per month for this idiotic, basic health care with a $12,000 deductible. Now, that means, if you don't know what a deductible is, that means you have to pay up to $12,000. You've got to pay that out of your pocket. And that, and mind you, before you go off on a rampage, that is before the affordable health care kicks in. Oops. They didn't tell you that, did they? It's just kind of like your car insurance. If you get in an accident and you got a deductible, you have to pay the deductible before the insurance company pays the balance. So if you've got a $5,000 deductible on your car that's only worth $10,000, you're paying half the deductible, and then the insurance company pays the other $5,000. So guess what? You lose out $5,000. You break even basically, but you lost the car. That's kind of how Obamacare is. You have to pay $12,000 up before Obamacare kicks in, then they'll go ahead and pay for it. All right. And now you're going to be telling me, Bob, what else pissed you off? Well, if you are like many people and you are on medications for diabetes, or if you had a surgery that requires you to be on medications for an extended period of time or permanently, something for the rest of your life like Prozac, sleeping pills, whatever. But you go down to your local pharmacy, a pharmacist that you've known for, 20 years, maybe, ever since you were a kid. Well, guess what? Under Obamacare, you're effed. You're frickin' screwed, because under Obamacare and under the Affordable Health Care Act, that after your second or third refill at your local pharmacy, you now are going to be directed to take your medication from a call-in bank. Those nice little call-in banks that you do, customer service. So here you're going to be talking to somebody that has absolutely no idea who the hell you are. And you're going to be giving them this information so they can send you your medications like you were getting through some other company or through your, going down to your local pharmacy. So now you're going to be talking to a phone bank. That's another thing that pissed me off about Obamacare. It's like, you people out there are all saying, "Oh, yeah, but this is the greatest thing since cheese whiz, Bob." Granted, there's going to be some of you out there that are going to save some money under Obamacare. There's going to be a few. But guess what? Those of us here in the Midwest where we don't have doctors all over the place where you can just get up and go, down the street, hey, doc, I got this, problem. Can you take care of it? You're going to have to be sent to a doctor that is covered under Obamacare. Maybe your doctor's not. This is another, what they call HMO. Oh, yeah. You remember them things? Remember the HMO? Well, that's what in my opinion, that Obamacare is. It's a government-run HMO. It sucks. It is probably one of the stupidest things that came along ever. Ted Cruz, and I know many of you out there don't like Senator Cruz because of his radical ideas and his radical... boom, guys, what the hell happened, guys? Don't you know how to turn things off? Jesus effing Christ almighty. I got guys out here, my interns, they're supposed to tell me, this is going on, and then all of a sudden, bang, I get this pop in my ear. That's telling me somebody was trying to punch in on one of my feed-ins. But anyhow, getting back to what I was talking about, this Obamacare, like Ted Cruz said, and so many Democrats have come up and said, as well as other Republicans have said, this is a train wreck in the making. It is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to the American people. If we want, I am not saying, I will not say, I have not said, and I never will say, we do not need health care. We do. We need universal health care that is actually affordable, that every American can afford, no matter if you only make, a paltry, $800 a month or $400 a month or, whatever. that you can actually afford. Well, they do it over in the UK, Sweden, a lot of European countries. But then you're going to be saying, well, that's socialized medicine. Well, maybe it is. Canada's got it. They have a great healthcare system. I've heard it over and over and over again that they got this great healthcare service that covers everybody for everything. All right, and all you do is go in and make a one-time payment. That's it. A one-time payment. You're covered. Obamacare, guess what? You have your deductible. You got to pay up to the deductible first, and then Obamacare kicks in. Of course, if you got Medicare, Medicaid, you're going to get a little extra, discounts there. But generally speaking, the average American, the average Joe, the average blue-collar worker, the guy, the family that goes out, works 40 hours a week, or more, because of our outsourcing of our jobs to other frickin' foreign countries like the Philippines, because big corporate, well, I'll get into that next week. But anyhow, it's ticking me off that I am hearing all this rhetoric. All of this rhetoric. How great this thing is. Huh. Boy, get your head out of your ass, is what I got to say. Go look it up yourself. Go read the nearly 1,000 pages of this Affordable Health Care Act. And you're going to find things in there you will not like. Things in there that are going to royally piss you off. They pissed me off. Oh, did it piss me off. And that's why you hear me coming on the air when I hear people saying, oh, this is the greatest thing since Swiss cheese. And I'm going to tell you, no, this is the worst thing that happened to America since 9/11. Because it is. This is the worst thing that has happened to America since 9/11. Because you are going to find that your deductible has to be paid before Obamacare kicks in. Boo-hoo. You wanted it, folks. You wanted this. But did you want this particular thing, or did you want a health care plan that you could actually afford? Did you want a health care that you could afford, that you did not have to worry about, that you could go into your doctor, you could go into, keep your pharmacist, and only had to make a one-time payment? Or did you want to keep this train wreck? Interesting concept, right? Let's see, let me scratch my head here. Do I want to get involved in a train wreck, or do I want something that's going to work smooth? If you have an ounce of a brain in your head, you'll say that I want something that's actually going to work. Oh, you hear it all over. Some of the mass media people are saying, oh, this is great. You hear from, Amy Goodman, and you hear it from a lot of other, reporters that this is the best thing, that's happened to America. No, it's not. I just told you my story. That's fact. It's fact. To get my wife under the Affordable Health Care Act would cost me and her $249 per month. Now, that don't sound like a lot to some people, but bear in mind, those of us who are on a pension, that's a lot, especially when you have a house payment. You have your power and lights. You have your telephone. You have car insurance. You have house insurance. You have all this other stuff you have to pay out. You have to put food on the table. You got to pay co-pays of medications. You got to pay gas. You got to pay, repairs in your vehicle. And, $249 is like almost 1/3 of your income. So you'll have to decide what's best for you. Do you want to do you want to pay that $249 a month out, or do you want to pay a paltry few dollars as a penalty at the end of the year because you don't have health care? Duh. Does it take a wizard to figure it out? I'll take and pay that small penalty at the end of the year. I'll be goddamned if I'm going to be paying $249 out of $49 a month. Sorry, folks, but that's the reality. That's the reality of the Affordable Health Care Act. It sucks. It sucks. And yet we allowed it to happen because we believe that what President Obama said when he was candidate Obama, that you would be able to keep your current doctor, you would be able to keep your current health policy, you would be able to keep your current pharmacist. Oops! I lied. I'm sorry, is what we heard. Yeah, he lied, and now and yet in his speeches later on about this, I'm sorry. We had hoped. Oh yeah, hoped you could have kept your pharmacist, but and then what I got a big kick out of in this whole thing is President Obama is out there talking about, the AMA, the American Medical Association. Everyone at the AMA is behind it. Well, you're going to be thinking, okay, well, every doctor in the country is behind this thing. Well, guess what? Here's some bad frickin' news for you. Only 20%, and I might be a little high on that, only 20% of all the doctors here in the United States are a part of the AMA. So when they took this poll, did they ask the other 80% what they thought about Obamacare? Your doctor, the one you see today, may not be affiliated with the AMA. But yet, according to Obama, he pushed it up that the AMA, everyone on the AMA was behind this affordable health care. But when in fact, that only included 20% of the doctors in America. So what the hell happened with the other 80%? What the hell happened to the other 80%? Did everybody forget we have more doctors than what the AMA is telling us? What the hell happened? Interesting.